Halo semuanya, Syah tidak di sini. Kita bermain game Reverse 1999 lagi. Dan udah lama juga kita nggak main game ini lagi. Kadang-kadang jarang juga ya. Tapi gua akan lanjutin lagi di jalan ceritanya supaya kita bisa main di game main event terus. Kalau kita chapter yang pertama ya. Ini sama ya. Starter dari dulu kemarin tuh beda ya, beda nih. On target. Channeling, self channeling, entering state staging. Surround inflicting welding to the enemy target. Inflicting, if the target already under welding, you have one breaking point. Ini sama yang kayak si Ezio ya? Kayak sama tuh. Ini pernah gue juga. Ini ini apa dia? Ini support terus bias. Ini 6. Nah, ini pilihan kita sendiri. Pada daftar kita belum ya? Sekarang ini dulu.
Greetings, madam.
Oke. Cek dari sininya. Banyak. Ini siapa? Non-human, Cok. Dia beast tapi dia tuh. Ini ada si Mercury. Ini yang Winsor. Ini gue belum punya karakter.
Weapons wear and rust with time, and so do men.
Ini lama banget, Cok. Kita langsung saja ke marka itu ya. Ini yang mana belum? Ini belum ya? Ini yang belum gua masuk. Ini udah selesai gua lantin, ini belum. The Star ya. Dan ya ini jalan ceritanya. Dan gua udah punya skin nih, Cok. Gua bisa nge-farming upgrade karakter, Cok. Ngeri. Belum ini, ada lagi nih. 15, 2. Oh, ini habis nih. Basically, on demand edition ya. Ini yang paling banyak nih. Kalau nggak salah ini dia apa dia? Plus 60, ini plus 60 juga. Ini berapa lah coba deh. Yuk, kita lanjut aja. Dan seperti biasa, gua akan matiin mic gua untuk kalian bisa mendengar atau bisa lebih jelas kalian dengarkan jalan ceritanya.
Before she became the timekeeper.
Daripada gua ngomong-ngomong terus kan, langsung nggak kedengaran dari jalan ceritanya nanti.
Whoa. So Vertin wasn't born a timekeeper. She didn't tell you that? Wait, no one is born a timekeeper. It's not an inherited title. Anyway, this report includes the secret chronology only accessible to the core members of the Foundation. You can only check it under the supervision of the monitor assistant before you become a qualified investigator. No matter what the reason is, it shouldn't have been shoved in this dusty room like rubbish. To evaluate its authenticity and risk, the genius Matilda Boaniche will fulfill her duty as the monitor assistant and carry out a thorough inspection of this report. If you agree to this resolution, please nod, Assistant Sotheby. Yes.
That was 1985.
A gloomy, miserable night compared to that peaceful morning in 1996, when we were only bothered by confusion. We didn't expect time to be reversed again, nor did we understand the consequence. Even now, I still remember Paulina's desperate cry. One of her hens was already inside the safe area when she fell at the entrance to the headquarters, and that was the only part of her left to us the next second. The only legacies we found were an engagement ring on that hand and her favorite blue polka dot scarf, which we used to wrap her remains in the end. To be honest, I admired those who still remained calm and sympathized with the arcanists on the edge of mental breakdown. It had nothing to do with the 1/4 arcanist blood in my body. It was only the kind of empathy which all mankind would share out of instinct in the face of a hopeless calamity. We lost many, too many colleagues. In the materials they sent back, we even saw all the horrifying phenomena, such as one's veins turning into electric wires. Since then, the storm, a word simply taken from visual observation, has been used to refer to the calamity. Of course, we can have a word for the calamity itself. But what words should we use to conclude all the absurdity and panic? Before the storm, we were all familiar with time. It was supposed to be a straight line connecting the past and the future. We followed the line to move forward. We broke free from ignorance. We built civilizations. We developed technologies. We promoted the well-being of mankind. And we improved our living conditions step by step. We were so sure that we were making progress on the right path. But then, the path was taken away all of a sudden. Oh, time, our closest old friend, where are you taking us? Back to the two most painful war times in the 20th century, the era when no one had ever heard the hiss of steam engines, or the century when mankind was yet to be enlightened. So far, mankind has achieved a lot in history. Dynamos, automobiles, flyovers, railways, hospitals, poorhouses. But if it goes on like this, what is the point of all the efforts we have made? Now we are like a shipwreck left on the island of time, witnessing the fall of the whole modern world in the unstoppable tsunami. Even though the Foundation has lost a lot of staff members, they are still doing fine compared to Laplace. My younger brother was a good example. He was the most sensible person I have ever known. On the first day of the second reverse, he told me, in a calm manner,
"At least we have reaffirmed that Newton was right. There was never an arrow of time in classical mechanics. Neither in relativity nor quantum mechanics. That means this is absolutely normal. Whether the time goes backwards or forwards, even if it starts spinning around like a tabletop football player. They're not against the law of physics. We can go back in time and give Poincaré a medal of great profit."
The next day, he almost fell off the 6th floor due to excessive drinking. All the perceptions of time and space developed to this day were overthrown. We couldn't find any theories to explain the storm in any existing researches. There could only be two reasons for this situation. Either we've been completely wrong all the time, or we've come to a brand new world. And this new world can never make sense in the way of science, or that of physics. It cannot be verified by an independent third party, and it is impossible to be comprehended through reasoning. Is it true that we have been going the wrong way? Is it true that those once proven wrong by history, those arcanists who claim to possess gnosis, are actually on the right path? In fact, the one who put an end to the chaos was indeed not a human. This thing, I had no idea what it was. It claimed to be a machine which never stops working. It laughed at the limitations of our brains and the metaphysical mistakes we make ceaselessly. But it did solve the most urgent issue. A system was built to tackle storm-relevant emergencies after it took charge of Laplace. The first measure it adopted was contacting all the existing branches of the foundations at the time to confirm the scale of available manpower. Then it built observation stations all over the globe to find if there were any other regions immune to the storm. After that, numerous offices responsible for deducing the cause of the storm were established. Even though there were countless disagreements during the research, at least we had taken the first step. I handed in the application to take part in this mission, determined to get rid of the fog in my mind. In 1986, I was assigned to the office in Egypt. All my friends came to the dock to see me off, because we knew it could be the final goodbye. Even though we were equipped with the emergency communication devices issued by Laplace, we were still not clear when the storm would assault us, or where we could hide nearby. What really scared me was not the threat to my life, but the possibility of dying ignorant. Then I boarded the ship to Alexandria from Athens. And that was when I met her. Now when I recall it was almost impossible to ignore that group of arcanists on the ship. There were about a dozen of them, all in eccentric stitched robes. They were followers of a strange school which mixes arcanum and mathematics. I talked to them. No matter how much that conversation bewilders me now, I was more excited than confused at the time. They also survived the storm in 1996, and they noticed the unusual changes taking place in the world as well. That means I actually met another group of survivors from the millennium.
Wait! A school of arcanists who survived the storm?
School of Arcanists yang survive di situasi the storm ya. Jadi kalau kalian belum tahu kayak mana tuh situasi storm tuh, apakah kayak hujan badai atau apa gitu, bukan. Jadi the storm itu dia tuh kayak gini. Ketika terjadi begitu, masa mereka tuh waktu mereka akan berulang mundur gitu ya. Jadi yang bisa kebal, yang orang di situ bakal ikut juga mundur gitu ya, berhitung mundur jamnya. Tapi bagi si Vertin atau case si Vertin ya, dari chapter awal pas kita baru pertama kali si Suneta ketemu si Regulus, itu kan si Vertin kan bawa ini suitcase, dan suitcase itu dalamnya tuh ada kayak perumahan sendiri gitu dia. Nah, sebenarnya si Suneto ini belum tahu apa-apa. Nah, pas muncul ini summon, dia datang di situ, muncul sendiri. Nah, kagetlah dia punya ruang rahasia, tapi dia ngerti maksudnya. Nah, kagetnya pas gue baca di bagian yang Shock of Science ya, pokoknya ada sekolah yang survive ya, atau nggak bisa dibilang kayak bertahan dia, orang-orang situ survive dari kejadian dari storm. Jadi mereka tuh nggak kehitung mundur gitu, nggak kehitung mundur ke masa lalu gitu dia. Tapi orang-orang yang nggak kebal tuh justru mundur dia. Jadi kayak dari tua ke muda gitu. Nah, masalahnya sekolah apa itu yang apa nama sekolahnya yang kebal terhadap sumpah, apa nama sekolahnya? Kayaknya dia ada dijelasin di situ. Kan gue nggak teliti tadi. Mungkin di sini ada mungkin. Ini ada kalian ya. Cuman kita dengar dari jalan ceritanya juga ya. Jadi gue akan ya biasa gue matiin mic gue supaya kalian bisa mengamati jalan ceritanya ya.
A mixture of arcanum and mathematics. The ship on the Mediterranean. Unbelievable. Our investigator actually met this group of arcanists who believed in numbers and even left such a precious record down on paper. Does it mean we are close to being helpful to Virgin? Certainly. It's what we deserve for all the efforts today. But why did they leave such an important report in the reference room storing unnecessary information? Did they misput it here after the chaos of the storm?
Among them, the most easygoing one was Hugh. He was an engineer as well as an arcanist. We shared the same preference for human technology, and that became our common topic. Hugh was in his 30s, red-haired, cheeks sunken, and deeply depressed due to some kind of eye disease. He was a decent man, with a prudent attitude, working at a desk most of the time. He reminded me of the imperial miniature painting artists in the Sultan's palace. Most of them ended up blind after toiling for their life. He showed me the picture of his daughter. I don't have children, but I could feel his happiness as a father. Although I got along well with Hugh, he seemed quite out of place among that group, which was actually led by her. I don't know what words to use to describe her. She was like a meteor shower, a tempest, or an unreasonable catastrophe itself. Her existence was just like her name. It was simple, yet implied a lot. Please forgive me for my cowardice. Even now, I don't have the courage to write down her name, if one would call that a name. In fact, she was quite a kind, warm-hearted person. Among all the unregistered arcanists I've met, she was one of the nicest ones towards the Foundation. She looked young, even though I heard she had a daughter too. Besides, she still possessed the innocence of a child, and that kind of excitement exclusive for genius. That's right. It seemed the whole world was like a sparkling toy to her. Our communication was heart-stirring at the beginning. Both of us were eager to find out what was happening, like two shipwrecked victims grappling at each other on the sea. But I didn't have the slightest idea what she was talking about, actually. The problem was not the typical communication issues between humans and arcanists. I was sure the language we used didn't pose any obstacles, but still I couldn't understand any words of hers. I would believe that one is highly intelligent if one can name all the factors of 11,567 without thinking. But what this one said was illogical nonsense which no one could ever imagine. She claimed that there is a world of numbers, above all else, where the non-physical essences of all things exist in the form of timeless, absolute, unchangeable ideas, and that the physical world where the time flows is nothing but an appendage, which has never been real or true. And that's why the chaos in this world is not worth any attention, and we should focus on what happened to the supreme existence. What an utter disaster combining modern maths with ancient superstition. I saw another hubristic arcanist pretending to be the prophet by reliving Platonism. I don't even bother to mention the balderdash on soul numbers. Even the New Age movement could use some of her absurdity. But that was not yet the end. She even claimed to be aware of the exact year when the next reverse would happen. But when I asked her about it seriously, she said,
My apologies. I've made an oath. I shall and only shall reveal the demonstration to people who have their own soul numbers.
I'm not sure whether she was making fun of me or being serious, but I had this feeling that she was eager to tell me how she was granted the secret through a moment of afflatus. It seemed she just saw through the laws behind all things instead of finding them through logical deduction.
Can't you see it? It is right in front of you.
After I expressed my inability to comprehend her words 30 times, she finally gave up and proffered regrets. I'd rather take it as a new kind of humiliation. What really irritated me about her, however, was her contempt towards science and all the scientific research methods. As far as I'm concerned, the value of a theory lies in its reliability, universality, and generalizability. Our pursuit of the truth has laid the foundation of modern science, allowing us to change the world. Yet, in her eyes, the value of a theory lies in its beauty. I talked to her on the current situation, and I told her how we would save lives and preserve the hard-earned technology of mankind if we could find the pattern of the storm. It was of course not an easy thing to do and would take enormous manpower, so I asked her sincerely to join the Foundation. Yet again she responded with contempt. She believed they would only become another military squad of the Foundation's.
Darling, maths are beautiful for their uselessness. That's why it remains noble and graceful in this sordid world, despite you humans' reckless action of using it to calculate ballistic.
She turned down my invitation and left an unfairly negative comment on our storm observation project.
The observation stations you built are destined to be toppled because their basis is the fragile world that follows the laws of physics. The efforts you've made are like nails on a sand beach, which will only be carried away by the next tidal wave.
But I said, perhaps our efforts are in vain, but someone has to do it. We will try every corner of the beach before making the conclusion that the world we are living in is already a hopeless ruin.
What a pragmatic, rigorous, and rational speech. But dear, the world is a hopeless ruin.
The conversation ended in disagreement. I don't know why arcanists hate the world so much. Perhaps the reason is they have never been truly accepted. To this day, I still remember her venomous conclusion.
The world built on past experiences has ended. In your words, which you used to mock us, why not embrace the reality?
Yet about the gnosis which she deeply believed in, and the so-called prophecy she made through numbers, she had never given any proofs or details that showed rigorous logic. And the reason for her inactions was an oath she had made before some stone? Therefore I believed her words were only the nonsense of a lunatic. When we first met, I thought she was different from all those psychos, who mistook the malfunction of their prefrontal cortex as the will of God. But they turned out to be the same. In the name of human sense, I swore everything she said was absurd and ridiculous to me. Until...
Madame Z said the arcanists on that island are all named after numbers because they have a strong belief that numbers are the essence of their souls. The investigator wouldn't write down her name. Is it because of the conflict between their beliefs? Huh? That's all? Submitting such an unfinished report would only cause problems for the reviewers and evaluators, but this investigator didn't even write down their name.
Don't worry, Ms. Burnish. I'm familiar with this situation. Every time after the brave Typhon defeats Jupiter, he returns to the Auto Island. But each time we twist the ear of Mr. Glassbox, Typhon will show up again and again. Ms. Moisson told me the ear is the key to bringing back our hope.
Wait, don't tell me you are talking about the shows on the mechanical television? Stop, Miss Sotheby. Please, take a seat on the cushion and listen to me carefully. This is a detailed report written by a formal investigator of the Foundations, not some TV show full of cliffhangers. That means we will definitely find the rest somewhere.
Oh, I see. Must be a Coco treant who took away the other part of the book. Usually, they will be attracted by Luna Fixer, and by following their traces, we'll find their lairs in the stable.
You mean someone took it away? That's highly possible. Data loss is not allowed in the Foundation, especially under the Monitor Assistance Management.
We must prepare Luna Fixer. Don't forget their favorite jigging magical beans. I don't have those materials with me right now, but I can write to them. It only takes a month.
Nuh-uh, we don't need that. You've perfectly accomplished the task from me when you found this valuable report. Well done, Assistant Sotheby. Now it's time for the great Matilda to show a little bit of her greatness.
Oke. Sama sekali, sumpah. Kelahi lagi kah? Enggak, cuy. Enggak ada scene kelahi sini kayaknya nih. Dikit kayaknya bagian-bagian kelahi kayaknya nih. Tapi ya pas gua amati ya, nggak terlalu amati sih. Aduh, gimana cara jelasinnya ya? Jujur gue nggak terlalu mengamati tadi. Mereka having fun juga ya belajar-belajar di labirin itu ya. Di sini ada penjelasan gitu ya. Most time language barrier are less significant observing between people. Kayak ini menceritakan tentang ada guru ya dan penjelasan sistem ya, atau tentang arcanist dan udah saling membenci dengan aku ya tadi yang ku dengar tadi ya, yang ku dengar tadi. Tapi ya ini jangan lagi ya. Udah banyak loh chapter ini, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ini 6 sekarang nih. Lagi ini nih. Sorry bau. Udah cenderung akhlak. Ini ada war room ya. Ini long way. Sebenarnya ini gue tunggu selesai ini dulu, baru kita bisa buka yang ini. Tapi ya, gue cek waktu dulu ya.
To be I watched my loved ones die, betrayed by those I had called friends.
Sebenarnya sih kita masih ada waktu sih. Satu chapter lagi nggak apa-apa lah ya.
Don't think I haven't noticed you looking to pay me a visit out in the
Yeah.
wilderness.
Udah gue updating udah.
Usually those who seek to find me are looking for...
Yang pengen gue upgrade itu siapa? Si Winsong boleh. Oh, Winsong udah punya aku, udah punya. Oke, udah punya.
There are those that claim to seek peace and order in this world, whose true designs are shrouded.
Ini yang permanen gue. Ini yang permanen gue. Oh, baru sadar Windows gue masih keluar tadi. Tapi mungkin aja sampai sini video kita hari ini karena gini, gue nggak mau bikinnya terlalu panjang gitu ya. Sebenarnya biar biar kalian bisa nontonnya semaksimal 30 menit aja gitu. Kalau kayak sejam 40 menit kayaknya nggak lama gitu. Jadi kemungkinan gue akan menyelesaikannya sampai hari ini aja ya. Sampai sini aja ya. Hari ini pula. Ini apa nih? Ini kita nge-visit tempat kan? Ini ada foto lagi. Aku kurang ngerti ini.
In my memories, it was always sunny in Monteriggioni. Days like these remind me of the humid air of Venezia.
Ya kemungkinan gue tadi nggak terlalu teliti tadi ya. Apa ada subtitle bahasa Indonesia? Tahu ya. Nggak ada cuy. Nggak ada di sini kamu. Ini lengkap. Juga. Yap, kemungkinan akan sampai sini video kita hari ini. Di next episode mungkin gue main Hollow Knight lagi. Dan kalau Minecraft ya kayaknya agak-agak susah juga karena kayaknya gue video ngikut juga, tapi ujung-ujungnya patah istilah tadi. Jangan ragu, gue belum ada bikin gedung belum. Gue belum ada bikin gedung lagi ya. Belum gue bikin. Kemungkinan the next episode kita akan main Hollow Knight dan gue akan menyelesaikan ending pertama dulu yang yaitu lawan the Hollow Knight. Habis itu kita akan balik ke The Phantom ya. Supaya kita bisa menyelesaikan bagian itu ya. Jadi sampai sini video kita hari ini. Jangan lupa like, share, subscribe di video ini. Jangan lupa hidupkan loncengnya supaya kalian tidak akan ketinggalan video saya lagi. Dan seperti biasa, gue akan bertemu kalian di next video. Dadah.